Okay, so that brings us to 6.6. So in 6.6 we are given a list of floating point values, and then we are given a dictionary containing settings to a function. So this is a different use case for dictionaries. And then this function needs to perform some operations on this list. So it needs to truncate it. So that truncate means that it looks at this vmin value, and then all elements of the list that are less than vmin are replaced by vmin. And similarly, we truncate at vmax, and that means that every element of the list that's greater than vmax are replaced by the value of vmax. So there are no values in this list that are less than vmin, so it doesn't affect it. But vmax is equal to 2, so that means that 3, 4, and 5 are each replaced by 2. And then there is a third parameter called normalize that can be true or false. And if it's true, we need to normalize. We need to normalize it to contain values in the range 0.1. But wait a second. It doesn't say how. Oh no. It doesn't say how we normalize it. Look, I think I can make an educated guess, but I'm not even sure I should. I don't know. Maybe the file will give a hint about what we're supposed to do here, because it doesn't say, and I think like my idea for how to do that would be complete guesswork. But we can start by solving the first part of the exercise, and I think this stuff, I guess this is going to be explained maybe during the lecture. Maybe this is an example from the lecture. So I think I'll just postpone that and just solve the first part of the exercise, because there I know what I'm supposed to do. So let us just go to week 6, and we have truncate. So here we are given a list, so we need to truncate at 0 and 2. That means that this needs to be replaced by 0, and this and no more needs to be replaced by 2. And fortunately we don't normalize, so we can make our way through this exercise. So we call this function truncate values, and it's given this list first as the float list, and then it's given the settings dictionary. So the way I solve that is that I insert a breakpoint. Let me just print out float list, so I have something to put my breakpoint on. And then I go up here, run, and I say debug. And that gets me to this line. And then I go into the debug console. Because I need to return a new list. So let's start by defining the new list that I need to return as the empty list. And I want to return that list. Like this. And then what I can do is I can just build it up one element at a time, where I pick the elements of float list one by one. And I go here to the debug console, and that allows me to print out the float list. So I have a loop for x in float list like this. And let me just start by printing out the x's. So now I need to check if I need to change this x, and I need to change the x if it is smaller than vmin or larger than vmax. So that's pretty easy. So if x is less than settings of vmin, like this is the way I get vmin out of the settings, right? Because it's just a dictionary. Then x is equal to this value. If x is greater than settings of vmax, x is equal to settings of vmax, like this. And now I have normalized x, and I can add x to my list. So I say my new list is updated to whatever it was before, and then I add x to the end by appending new list with a singleton list just containing the x. This is a bit of a verbose way of doing it. There is potentially simpler ways of doing it, but I think the explicit way is better when you're trying to learn a new programming language. And then you can always complicate your life later and wonder why you try to make a more elegant solution and end up with a bug. But before I talk about bugs, let me just try to run my code. So I select all of these lines and then I use my shortcut Shift-Alt-E to run it. And now I can check what new list is after I run the code. It looks like this. And I think I'm happy here. So I stop my debugger. And I just try to run the file as normal. And it's normalized. Or it's truncated. Normalized. Honestly, I'm not going to touch it. I'm sure there's a point to it, or maybe the documentation will be updated. So if I start to make an explanation here and it's not correct, I think that's just going to confuse everyone even more. So that was a bit of a short video, but good luck with normalizing your lists.